Hello. Okay, so this is not going to actually be a clip from a live stream. This is actually just going to be me talking in a direct to record because I don't think the content of this video would be allowed on Twitch. So but I made a promise to react to one video, react or analyze one video from each of my fellow Skybros in the last, the Crybrows reaction, not reaction video, but so that gives me a list of people I need to look into. Now I already have a video for Lord Intellectual, Feeblemind, Penny Bloomfeld. These two right here, Feeblemind and Penny Bloomfeld, are the ones I'm going to react to today. Eustace the Useful. I've already done Leaflet Azari, so that's fine. So I've already got these guys listed. I technically have reacted to a powder video, but because it was in a previous video where it was actually nested in with a number of other creators that I was reacting to, I'm not going to count that. So I'm going to find a specific powder video to do so. Also going to look for a video from Lusty Links, Reaving Mango, Rada Zero, Keen En, Rivu Nami, Cross Legends, Mavluck, Underworld Fox VTuber, Night Owl VT, Silas, Frost Runner. I can't talk. Simply John, Gaming Sin, Lifu, Nihilith, Zaela Zeja, Griffin Knight, Nasky, Holy Goddess, Mumi Playing Games, The X Count, Hyrule Chikage, Luis Verse Cinematics, Delta Wolf 555. And down the line, I'm probably going to react to Kitsune Mizuki, Nuxtaku, Ember Paradox, and Banana Juju, who, again, were also in the video. But those were definitely on my to-do list before the video. But as well as Smugalana, by the way. And I've already done a reaction to Kirsha. Everyone seems rather supportive, at least right now, but I actually respect the integrity of Feeble Mind and oh, that's the wrong one. I have a lot of tabs open right now. Where is it? Here it is. I'm going to move this all the way back over here because I don't know why I forgot to move it there. But the Penny Bloomfeld, because they gave a warning about why associating with them, if you want to have a career to be a significantly larger VTuber, might not necessarily be the wisest thing. I've seen part of this one. I have seen this one all the way through. I didn't take notes, so I'm going to go through and speak my mind as it goes. But I will later in the video explain why I might also be a potential hazard to a standard VTuber career. Because if you haven't been paying attention to the stuff I've already been outputting, well, that's embarrassing. I can just get that from here. I have already staked my flag in a number of controversial subject matters. Talk about I was very much against Antifa in this particular one, so I'm not a fan of Marxists, as you can tell. I've been exposing leftist misbehavior in some areas. I've defended chibi reviews. So we'll go into a whole litany of reasons why associating with me could potentially be a hazard, just so that you can be aware of that potential hazard moving forward, right? So I already have some of those videos pulled up, be part of the commentary. But first, I want to let them get through their commentary, and then I'll explain why it is that, again, I might be in the same camp of I might be a bit of a hazard to your career if you continue to associate with me. So if you have to disavow me, for your own public, what would you say, for your own career, that's entirely fine. I understand it. Feel free to if that is the case, feel free to DM me and tell me about it. I will never tell anyone. I'll just be like, okay, yeah, fair enough. I completely understand. So let's go with Feeble Mind. I know some of his takes are controversial, and I'll talk about them as we go. I'm not as interested. Well, we'll see as we go.
All right, guys. Today's video is going to be a little different. We don't normally do videos like this, but it's going to be kind of me kind of talking to you and kind of talking to the community as a whole. Um, and just kind of saying some things that I just want to get off my chest and make clear. I don't think anybody expected uh all of this like Skybrow's cinematic universe stuff kind of taking off, and then all of the cameos that just keep happening. What started off as a harmless joke, not thinking it was serious, ended up getting me put into a video as a cameo.
I mean, that's entirely fair. I definitely didn't see my cameo coming. Uh, when I was reacting to Skybros, I was like, I actually genuinely respect the guy as an artist, and I just have a lot to say about it. So I was completely caught off guard when, again, I knew about it beforehand, but when a friend of mine accidentally let it slip that I was in one of the videos, that did catch me off guard. Because I genuinely wasn't expecting it. So yeah, I think we were all kind of caught off guard by that.
Twice, and then again, and then again. Um, which has exponentially grown what has essentially been a dead channel for like 15 years. Well, 10 years maybe.
If there is a god, he works in mysterious ways. That's all I gotta say.
Um, as I have many other channels that I actually do work on. And this one just suddenly became alive again. So I was like, all right, I'll play along. This will be fun. And yeah. And then we keep it anonymous here. We try to anyway. I've been doxxed so many times at this point that I'm sure eventually when the unhinged leftists notice me, they're going to expose my horrible bald head to the world again.
I've already made my opinions about doxing known. I think doxing is an inherently evil thing to do. Uh, but especially in the VTuber sphere, like there's a reason doxing is completely haram. So yeah, fair enough.
Anyway, main point I want to make here is more of talking to the other content creators in the cameo space. I know everybody's kind of on like the honeymoon period of things, and everybody's kind of experiencing big growth, especially after the last like 2 videos. I think like those were really huge cultural videos for Skybrowse himself, and everybody included in those kind of got massive bumps from that, myself included. I just randomly jumped up like 1,000 subs in like a couple days.
I mean, I have definitely been like boosted as well. I'm getting more views on my videos. I'm getting a lot more comments on my videos, to be perfectly honest, and I'm getting a lot more. I've gotten significantly more subscribers. So yeah, I mean, again, Skybrowse did us all a solid for that. He did not need to do that. So I am very grateful for not just anyone who watches my videos, but not just for the people who comment on my videos. I'm swamped IRL, so if I don't get to you, uh, I'm not ignoring you. I could have just potentially forgot because things happen, right? Uh, but yeah, again, he did not have to do that. So I am very grateful. And well, that's annoying. Did my window just crash? Hold on, it looks like my window is crashing. Yep, my window is crashing. That's fucking great. But yeah, Skybrowse didn't need to do what he did for us, so I'm very grateful. So let's continue. Hopefully, my computer doesn't crash on me.
Off those 2 videos, which was weird. Because I made a joke that I wouldn't put the hat on until I hit 3K, assuming that would never happen because the sub growth was horrendous and I make terrible content by most standards. But here we are, and inevitably what that means is
it is a nice hat, though.
As things grow and we get noticed more, we are also going to start getting noticed by people on an unhinged, very dangerous side of the political sphere. And I just want to make it clear that to other cameo YouTubers, right? People who are in the cameos, who are kind of participating in this, I guess, grander community going on. I just want to make it clear, if you feel like you can't associate with me because I am very controversial, I will say controversial things. There's many reasons for that. There's many reasons for why I will use slurs and say racist things, if I think they're true. By the way, not just because, but if I think they're actually true and hold merit. I don't hold back on words I use because leftists have made words basically meaningless. So I don't see a point in trying to filter myself. I have been a very good boy the last week or so because I haven't been really doing any content because I've been working on a project which should release also today, possibly. Yeah, but going forward, I'll be doing videos daily again, or at least streams daily, where I will be covering topics that will probably make some people upset. And I just want to make it clear, right? I will be pretty toxic to be around, right? If you associate yourself with me, there's a good chance you're going to be targeted, right?
Now, guys, I'm going to stop it here because, again, there's significantly much to talk about this. As far as I respect the integrity of making this video. Again, this guy did not have to make the video. He could have very well just let us all not know about this and been a sleeper disaster potentially for the community. Now, granted, I don't know what he means when he says like what he's talking about here because in context, in actual life, oftentimes it does not reflect the computer life, right? It just does not. Like being a being a friend group that's like racially diverse and like slurs oftentimes become just like the common, just a thing you throw around because you feel safe with each other. You can say things with each other that indicate you're a degree of closeness to them because if it was around anyone else, uh, it would clash against that boundary that is there, right? So everyone, there is literally that joke of, that's a common joke. It's like again, the racially diverse friend group, and they all use slurs, right? So I don't know what he's talking about. Not every friend group is like that, but again, I don't know what he means by that. I'll have to check that out later because I don't know what that means. Again, a lot of these terms don't mean anything anymore. Like, what do you mean that when you say you're racist? Do you mean like actually racist, or do you mean like, oh, it's a funny joke kind of deal, right? The same thing with like shoe on head with the Nazi thing. Oh, she was talking about like when someone gets called a Nazi, it's like, oh, what funny joke did they say, right? I genuinely don't know what the guy means from that particular statement, which is fairly fair. And again, the toxic thing is like, well, internet toxicity is like the culture of the internet. Like if you were around, if you're younger than a Zoomer, right? Or then you probably remember a time when the internet was highly toxic. Yeah, that's just the old school internet culture. So again, I'm not entirely sure what he means by that per se, but we will continue the video and see what he has to say. I'm willing to listen to hear anyone out. As I've told before on the channel, I had a buddy who was seriously considering esoteric Hitlerism, right? And I didn't flip out on the guy. I just actually had a conversation with him, and eventually I was able to convince him to not consider esoteric Hitlerism, but he was really considering it. So, but that actually required me sitting down and respectfully having a conversation with him, hearing what he has to say in earnest to understand what he's trying to say, and then offering my honest feedback and my honest reasoning. So, I am willing to sit down with people who have wildly different opinions than me, so long as we can sit down and actually have a respectable conversation, right? Uh, so, again, I don't know what all that means, but we can go and continue on.
And I've said this before, these insane atheist communist fucking slug life forms.
They're not actually atheist. They do have a theology. So it's Gnosticism pretending to be atheism. I've talked about this on multiple occasions. They are not actually atheist. There are very few genuine atheists out there because many atheists actually smuggle in religious ideas and theological ideas into their worldview. Now, one of the few atheists that don't do this is Ayn Rand, and she gets hate on it for not doing this. But yeah, no, Marxism and all of the like crypto religions that come after it are a Hegelian religion. Their god is not a traditional god, but they do have a god. They just don't call it a god, and they get angry when you call it a god. But they do have a god. It happens to be the collective of mankind. That is the god of the Hegelian movement. And the divine judge is the enlightened man at the end of history. So, again, they are a religion. They just do not use religious terminology because Gnosticism has a history of parasitizing off of worldviews. So, for example, when paganism was the big thing, they parasitized off of paganism. You have the Orphic religion, right? You have in Hinduism, you had things like the Advaita instead of Dvaita Vedanta. Then you had, for example, when Christianity starts taking off, you had a lot of Gnostic religions that were pretending to be Catholics, or for example, the Cathar. When Protestantism broke away from the Catholic Church, you had Gnostic infiltrations of Protestant religions, and that's where Hegelianism comes from. Hegel was a Hermeticist who pretended to be a Lutheran. And then finally, when the Europeans, for the most part, lost trust of their institutions due to massive structural cultural failures, largely, such as in the First World War, you saw the rise of what is called scientific atheism, which is again which oftentimes nests in religious concepts just under different names into the worldview. So it's not really an atheistic worldview, and we need to stop treating them as if they're atheistic and treat them as the crypto-religious cult that they actually are.
Never have the balls to actually go after me or any other actual like person who is actually right wing, because I don't consider people like Asmongold or even Leaflet like right wing at all. They're super moderates. They're basically classical liberals, right?
I would agree. I would agree. I don't really believe that. So, again, I've said this before. I don't think right wing in the current lexicon means anything. What the fuck does an anarcho-capitalist have with a national socialist? Fucking nothing. Like, they have no overlapping ideas. So what do they actually have in common? The only thing they have in common is they oppose Marxism. But even then, Nazism is just an offshoot of Marxism. Like, the founder of National Socialism was himself, in his earlier life, a Marxist. Rudolf Jung was a member of the Communist Party. So and a lot of the Nazi ideas are just, let's take communist logic and apply it to pagan thought. And okay, so you take the Aryan and you just switch out the terms. Take bourgeoisie and you replace it with Jew, and you take Aryan to switch it out with proletariat, and boom, you have the Nazi framework already basically in place, except for just add pagan thought. Everything the Nazis did is heavily pagan influenced. You have, for example, again, the whole idea of like the Aryan Superman is just the Alfar, the divine ancestors, right? The deified dead. You have the whole idea of, or even Rudolf Jung himself, in his book National Socialism, describes their god very explicitly, the All Father, Odin, as opposed to that god of desert god of desolation, where he's very clearly referring to Yahweh. So the god of Christianity and Judaism, not compatible with it. Uh, yeah, for example, again, world ice theory is just the origin of the universe in Germanic paganism. It's Niflheim meets Muspelheim in the Gunungagap, right? The yawning void is the intermingling between the two principles. Even the insanity of the Nazis in their love of death comes from the fact that, again, their god was Odin. Odin is the chooser of the slain. That's the worship of death right there, right? So I could actually go on and on and on about this, but it kind of detracts from the video. So I will agree that they're not right wing, but I also don't think right wing means anything. Like, you would have to arbitrarily come up with a right wing definition. But the thing is like, again, I don't really think so. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm getting sidetracked here. I hate the left right dichotomy because it's a Hegelian spook. Anyway.
That being said, I am not. I am very much a Christian nationalist. I am. You could almost just call me Nick Fuentes light without the gay. There's no gay here. So,
I mean, my main problem with Nick Fuentes is he very obviously never believed anything he said. Like, I called him being an absolute like spook again, long before we actually found out Nick Fuentes was actually a spook. Now, I don't know much about Christian nationalism, mostly because, one, I never studied the subject. Two, every time I ask someone about Christian nationalism who actually says they're a Christian nationalist, they give me contradictory like positions. So I'm not going to make any assumptions about what feeblemind himself actually believes because that would be absolutely improper on my part. I want to know what people actually believe. So since I do not know what he means when he says Christian nationalism, I'm going to leave it at that because I don't know what he means by this. Anyway.
And yeah, my entire political view and worldview is shaped around Christianity as the core of my belief structure.
I mean, that makes sense if like you that makes sense for a Christian for that to be the case, right? I mean, if that's the first principle is that, Jesus Christ is the logos, the ordering principle of the universe, including the moral universe, then yeah, that would be the foundation rock.
And I'm not afraid to speak the truth and just put that out there. So that's going to make me a very large target going forward if things continue to grow. And these unhinged atheist leftists take notice. So I just want.
I mean, again, he very clearly said again, it's not him who's in danger here, and it's almost certainly because he doesn't give a shit about what they say. And again, that's how you make a lot of these people go away: is you don't give them the attention. You tell them to fuck off because you don't care about their opinions. So just
want to make it clear there are no hard feelings, right? The whole point of this is like I'm trying to say there's no hard feelings for any of you because a lot of you guys are not equipped to deal with this. I am. It's not going to bother me. I've dealt with it before. I am willing to not only die for my beliefs but fight for them every day. And I'm not going to change my beliefs. I'm not going to censor myself, and I'm not going to limit what I want to say, even when I'm around you guys. So if you do want to collab or something or work with me, just know you're painting a target on your back for a very deranged set of people who will dox you. They will dox your family. They will try to kill you. They most likely will try to swat you and your family. And they will literally drag you into the mud just because you would associate with somebody like me. So I just want to make it clear, you don't have to do it. You don't have to feel compelled to do it. And respectively, if you don't want me around in your streams or in your content, then just say so. Just DM me and I'll be like, hey, I get it. Trust me. I would prefer people who aren't equipped and aren't ready to deal with the insane leftists on the internet. They just be honest about it. Hey, I don't want to deal with this. Please don't bring it around me. And you know what? I will still support all of you from the shadows, just like I have this entire time. Those of you, I mean, everybody is aware. I'm always in your streams. I'm always liking your videos. I'm always leaving comments to everybody I possibly can, as much as possible. There's like 30 of you. It's really hard, guys. Come on. Like, give me a break. My sleep schedule was completely screwed. I mean, I've literally been sleeping like 3 hours a day. I'm almost passing out while I'm driving to work. It's pretty bad. Trying to keep up with all your guys' content and streams and help you guys out. Because for some of you, this is a lifelong passion and something you really want to do and pursue. And I fully support that and I understand that. And I just want to make it clear there are no hard feelings if you don't want to associate with somebody like me who is going to be very controversial if this channel keeps growing. Because, like I said, I am not going to filter. I am not going to curtail my beliefs or my worldview for you, even though I like you, right? So I might like you. I like all of you. I have no problems with any of you. I'm super supportive, even if we don't agree politically. Maybe we don't even agree on personal levels on different things, but like I will continue to support all of you as much as I can. Like for me, this is just a hobby. I have no interest in money. I have no interest in money from this. I don't need the money. Some of you might. We don't need to know who does that. Keep that private. My general rule, and there's 10 golden rules, but rule number 1.
I gotta pause it right there again. I don't like dead air, and there was a lot of commentary there. But again, even though I probably am going to disagree with this guy on a lot, I actually still deeply respect the guy because, again, he did not have to do this. He did not have to come out and like say all this to be, but he did. He very clearly cares about the well-being of people around him. I don't know. Again, I don't know what he believes per se, but he very clearly is honest, even to like a to the point of abrasiveness. But he's also very clearly like mindful of the well-being of the people around him. Again, I actually quite like admire the integrity. Like, if anyone wants to okay, not anyone, because again, it means different things to different people. If you want to send me, like, if you want to tell me what you mean when you like say Christian nationalism, just so I know where you stand, because I'm actually interested in what people think. I talk about, like, again, deconstructing leftist politics quite often on my channel. So it's like, if you want to tell me what you actually believe, that's entirely fine. I'm actually quite curious, because I actually have taken the time to study other worldviews as well. Not just explicitly the left. I talk about, for example, ideas on the right as well. So I don't know anything about the subject matter, but I am willing to learn.
One is always just shut the fuck up, right? You
Yeah,
don't always have to say something. You don't always have to have an opinion on something. If you don't know something, then just shut the fuck up,
blasphemy. I'm kidding. That is good advice, though.
right? Now, I will do my best to defend anybody who still does want to associate with me and does get attacked by any of these people going forward. But I just want to point out that I am planning to double and triple down on video reactions and content that I cover, and be very unapologetic and very straightforward and always pursue the truth in anything that I talk about, at least from my perspective. So that's going to be saying things like transgender is a mental illness and you are a male or a female only. There is no such thing as transgender. You're just mentally ill or be a degenerate.
Okay, so on this particular issue, I actually have talked specifically about the ideological foundations of trans ideology. Not a fan of trans ideology. I have sympathy for people going under who experience dysphoria, but I am again of the classical opinion that again that is a mental disorder. My view is actually very similar to that of Blair White's. Like, I have compassion for these people, but it is a psychological disorder in my opinion, and the ideologies pushing for the trans ideology specifically are rooted in idealist in dualist metaphysics that I think are completely antithetical to reality. That place the primacy of consciousness forward instead of the primacy of reality. Uh, you know, because the main issue with that is, like, in idealism and in dualism, you have the problem that you are not really your body; you're actually a spirit. Now, classical Aristotelian thought, which is closer to what I actually believe, is that you are a body with a soul. The soul just means a vital principle, the thing that makes your body alive as opposed to not alive, right? That's a vital principle. And it's the soul is a vital principle of a specific body. So there is no, for anyway, not to get too much into the weeds of Aristotelian, lore, but the trans ideology is predicated on the idea that, and I'm talking again, the ideology, not the psychological condition. The two are separable from each other. That you are actually not your body; you are actually your soul, and that your soul is separable from your body. That's dualism, right? You're a ghost in the machine. Well, if you're the ghost and there's a disconnect between the ghost and the machine, it's the machine that's broken, not the ghost, because you are the ghost. So, under dualism, if there is a misalignment between body and soul, or body and mind, it's the body that has to be modified, not the mind. Whereas under Aristotelian logic, where you are either a body with a soul or a soul body composite, then it is the issue that, like, if your body is like in if your mind and body are not in accords with each other, since it's the body that's primary, then it's your mind that has to be realigned to conform to the body. So I've talked about this in greater depth in previous videos. So that would be more or less my position: is that I'm not an idealist and I'm not a dualist. So I don't accept the framing of the whole idea that you can be either in the wrong body, or that the dysphoria requires the bringing the body into alignment with the mind and not the other way around.
And you were raised by retards. Okay. Or things like black people commit most of the violent crime in the America, and then all the black people in positions of power across the states who have infrastructure control of infrastructure, kind of like look at Washington D.C. recently, or Flint, Michigan. They literally ruin everything they touch because they're DEI hires and they're naturally genetically inferior IQ wise to Western Europeans. I'm sorry, that's the truth.
Okay, so the interesting statement here. So I don't really care about like because this to me is more of a scientific question, right? It's not really an ethical question as much as it is a question of like what are the actual numbers and the data and what does reality actually represent. Now, it is very, it is obviously true that there is an issue of like per capita crime, right? And per capita is the thing the left really hates to hear. Uh, and there is also the issue of what was the thing with the DEI hires. That is a real issue. There are people obviously who are ethnic minorities who are good at their job, but the problem is that when you have DEI hires, the DEI hire is chosen over the person who is qualified, and this drags the entire. Not only does it drag people's perception of any given group that's benefiting from DEI down, it actually drags that group down as well for very obvious reasons. DEI is just Marxism, by the way. It is again just Marxism applied to identity politics. And as far as like the IQ thing, again, well, he qualified his statement there too. So it's like when he was talking about like inferiority and superiority, he's talking about uh, IQ. Now, it is also true that different ethnic groups seem to score differently on IQ tests, which I don't think is, again, a moral claim. I know a lot of people will get a little outraged by that, but like if that's the case, I'm not saying it is or it isn't, but if that's the case, that doesn't fucking mean anything to me. Uh, and it's not just that; it's also different countries as well. And it's actually kind of interesting to see that like this is a more complicated thing than people think about. I mean, obviously, uh, IQ is largely genetic. I might actually do a video on the reacting to the Mentis wave IQ uh, video because this is actually really good. And it summarizes a lot of literature out there that I know most people aren't going to actually sit down and read. Um, there's also the issue that certain, lineages have been kind of handicapped by the cultural practices. Again, we have the issue of cousin marriages in Islam, which has like lowered the average intelligence of certain groups because again, when you inbreed cousin marriages over time, it results in deleterious mutations piling up, and it's not good for you. If you actually like stop this particular practice, the average, that this problem will actually solve itself. And then you have the issue of again certain cultural practices. Like I remember bringing this up to a friend of mine actually. To a black friend of mine. I was like, "Is this a real thing?" And they told me, yes, sadly, this is a thing that people do. It seems to be from what they told me that this is more of a mainland, like American thing, not a Puerto Rican thing. But yeah, I mean, if certain groups, wash their food with fucking bleach or soap, um, poisoning your generations is not going to help you in the IQ race. To be perfectly honest. Now it does also cut the other way. Certain groups, on average, statistically, score lower than others. You will find occasionally that person who just like blows everyone out of the water for no reason other than they probably have a genetic mutation. Sylvester James Gates Jr. comes to mind as like a example of like this guy is just fucking way smarter than anyone would expect. He's written papers that like maybe 5 people on Earth actually fucking understand. I'm not one of them. um, his work on, for example, Adingras in string theory is just so sophisticated that I'm going to be perfectly honest. I'm like, fuck if I know. Um, so, yeah, like that would be one of those claims that are made in the video that I don't think really has any kind of moral content to it. It's like, yeah, I mean, the IQ thing is an interesting thing, but like, I'm not saying he's saying there's a moral impetus to it. I'm saying other people put a moral impetus on it that just does not exist. Again, I'm a strongly pro-life individual. I don't really care if the kid has Down syndrome. Their life isn't worth less than anyone else's, right? So, just pointing that out. The value of a human life is not determined by their IQ. I'm not saying he's saying that. I'm saying there will be some retard who makes that association. And I don't think either of us are actually making that association. Although, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. Again, this is an inference I'm making. I could be wrong. Um, so Yeah, and also with the thing with the your practices causing a downgrade in your intelligence. We may have some historical evidence for this. For example, in Roman descriptions, because the Romans have a very interesting history of racism themselves that is counter to what you might expect coming from like the quote unquote racism today. But anyway, let's keep going.
I'm sorry if it hurts your feelings. So I will be saying things like this. So I am
Oh yeah, when I was saying that it cuts the other way, it's like the highest scoring group that I am aware of. Last time I checked the studies on IQ were Ashkenazi Jews. Like, score apparently higher on average than everyone else, but that doesn't make the Jews better than the whites, and that doesn't make the whites inferior to the Jews, right? It's just a statistical average based off of genetic, cultural, and personal, uh, you know, uh, predispositions that affect your IQ. So
preparing you now. This is what I'm going to be saying on a regular basis, and I'm going to be very unapologetic about it because I don't care.
I mean, again, I respect the integrity. If you genuinely believe this stuff, it's better to be honest about it, even if, like, because again, you don't want to lie to yourself, right? You don't want to have to be a liar. Now, again, I'm pretty sure I'm going to disagree with a lot of this guy has to say over time. But that being said, again, I respect the integrity.
I can delete this entire channel at any point, move on with my life, have a business, have plenty of money. Some of you can't.
I was never going to succeed, so I have no problem with this.
So please, I'm saying this out of love. Do not engage with me or associate with me if you feel you're not ready for the potential dangers that could come your way for the things I'm going to say, right? I know we're all kind of excited. It's a honeymoon period. It's a little bubble. We're all kind of in these little cameos together, but I can tell you from just sitting in your channels, and I'm sure some of you know this from sitting in mine, we are drastically different people with very different beliefs and a very different outlook of how things should be going in the future. And I am very much unapologetic about it. And I will pursue those beliefs, right? And I hold no hard feelings for anybody who goes, you know what? Maybe it's best I don't invite that extra level of like insanity from unhinged people on the internet. Um, Even if you like me on a personal level, we can still talk and play games off stream or talk through Discord, or you can reach out to me. It is really no hurt feelings. It's basically the TLDR of this whole entire rambling is that
That is a good distinction to make, though. It's like, obviously there are going to be things in my real life that are never going to make it onto the channel because they're not relevant to it. And even relationships you make, for example, in the YouTube sphere, may not necessarily be anything that ever manifests into content because it's just not really relevant to anything you actually do. So that is a also a good point. Is like you can have relationships that just never bleed into the work you're doing because they are different spheres. Um, I don't know the guy, so like this is my first introduction to him, and you know, I think that this is a fairly good introduction to the guy because again, like the first thing he says, like, the first thing I see pop up in my feed after I find out who he is on the video is be careful because there are people who hate me and they will come after you to get to me. Again, didn't have to say that. What can I say? I like the honesty.
that uh, there are no hard feelings if you have to separate, right? I respect it. It makes sense. Like some of you are, I can tell, I watch you and you're so excited about like the amount of things you could do now, and that like you're getting attention and you have people to talk to. And I love that for you guys, and I want to protect that for you as much as I can. But I'm also going to be me. And unfortunately, me in 2026 tends to be the boogeyman for a majority of people on on the internet. So they're not going to like me. As the more I get noticed, the more my content tracks and picks up. Eventually, it's going to happen where somebody's going to really not like something I say, and I'm going to be the target of a mass cancellation or harassment campaign. And by proxy, you will also probably be dragged into it. So once again, I don't care if you got to denounce me in a public video, denounce me.
Yeah, not gonna happen. I'd actually have to know what you say in order to denounce you, and even then, it's like it would be more of a character thing. Because if you, I'm not going to denounce someone because they disagree with me on, like, for example, academic issues, or which is what honestly, politics is, in my opinion. A lot of politics is academic nonsense. Uh, but yeah, I mean, it would have to be an issue of character that would cause me to do that. Because again, to be perfectly honest, I don't exactly expect to be successful, and I don't exactly want the kind of success that, for example, Kirsha and Leaflet had. I would personally rather have a more niche community. Because to be fair, I didn't even want to. A lot of my recent videos have been talking about politics. I don't want to talk about politics. It's just things are fucking crazy right now, and I kind of feel as if I need to put some input in, because a lot of what I'm saying is just not being said by other people that are in the sphere. So it's like I might as well be the one to do it, kind of deal. Um, but yeah, it's like if I'm not going to associate, if in general, if I just don't associate with someone, I'm just not going to really pay attention to them. So it is kind of just that simple. But I do get what he's saying. Is like these people, they don't accept silence as an answer. And in fact, I actually talked about exactly why this is in a previous video. And this is what he's alluding to. Uh, these people don't accept neutrality. They demand that you kowtow to them. They will browbeat you in a Maoist struggle session until you agree with them. And I'm personally happy to just disagree with a person. I actually have this pulled up as well. Like, I am a what would most people would consider a very, very right libertarian, right? But I had a polite conversation with a democratic socialist. Very hard pressed to find two different worldviews. There's like three of me on screen right now. Very hard pressed to find a worldview that is that radically different from each other. And again, I don't mind people having extremely different opinions than me. Uh, like I don't care. I genuinely do not give a shit. Like, people are allowed to disagree on even fundamental issues, right? So yeah, I don't know that I'm gonna really like interact with feeblemind all that often. Uh, but I'm not gonna kowtow to someone in a fucking Maoist struggle section because I know what I know what the purpose of a Maoist struggle session is. I'm just gonna tell people to go fuck themselves. Um, but other than that, it's like it's that simple. And I would suggest that if someone tries to put you through a Maoist struggle session, the best thing you can do is tell them to go fuck themselves and just continue on. They will eventually just continue on. These people are deranged, and they hate you, and they will never give you any opportunity to be forgiven. If you cross their ire, they will hate you, and they will continually move the goalpost over and over and over again, because they don't see you as a person. They see you as an instrument to be used and exploited. So once you gain their ire, there's nothing you can do to stop the onslaught. At that point, you just need to double down and tell them to fuck themselves. So,
Protect yourself first. Take
but yeah, I mean, if you don't have to, don't put yourself in that situation. Obviously,
care of yourself first. There are no hard feelings. Like I said, I'm not here to even really make friends. I'm just here to do what I want to do and take advantage of the little bubble that's going on that Skyebro has pretty much provided for all of us, which, God bless his soul.
and again, this is a reasonable take. Like, he is doing the thing that he loves and he believes. That's fine, right? I'm trying to do the same thing. I'm trying to do what I love and what I believe. Now, I don't want to talk politics, and as you can see, the last 13 fucking episodes I've had have been politics, just because, as Shuan had said, it's like 10 years of news has happened in the last fucking, what would you call it? Like 2 months. But yeah, so there's that. uh, I would really love to be able to just get back to like streaming to like game playthroughs and failing my audio settings, but we do not live in that world yet.
Um,
And it is entirely you have a not just right to be self-interested, you have an obligation to be self-interested, right? to not put yourself in undue and unnecessary danger if you can avoid putting yourself in undue and that's the key term, undue danger. So you have an obligation to look out for what's best for yourself. Um, Even if you're a Christian, like there's two very important moments in that I point to. Jesus's command, love love your neighbor as thyself. Well, that command doesn't mean shit if you don't actually love yourself in the first place, right? So nested in the command is the command love thyself, even if it's not explicitly stated. But also, remember, Jesus also said, don't worry about whether they go to heaven, worry about whether you go to heaven, right? Like, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and yet lose his soul, right? You are required, it is a obligation, it's basic virtue ethics to be self-interested to some degree, right? The content of your soul, the content of your character is the most important thing from a moral perspective. I'm not a deontologist. Deontologists are cringe pagan polytheists, as far as I'm concerned. I'm being a bit exaggerative, but I could talk about that in like deontology and Platonism later.
None of us would be remotely relevant without him. And even the guys who were already somewhat relevant, I'm seeing people get like massive support they've never seen before, strictly from the bubble that's going on with the Skyebro videos. So yeah, just want to make that clear. No hard feelings. I do love you all. I try my best to support you guys. But I will be a controversy for your future career. And if you do value your career on YouTube, and you prefer more like wholesome, friendly. I mean, I can still interact with your chat, and everybody's seen I can be wholesome, I can be friendly. I don't even bring up politics or even my religion or anything in people's chats most of the time.
Yeah, and that's another important thing. Time and place is another thing that the Marxists don't understand, and I brought that up in the fucking Emeru video that I just pulled up that I had earlier. It's like Emeru understood time and place. There's a time and place to talk about things, and on stream or in chat is not that time and place for certain topics. Especially if you're like a raw entertainer, like Emeru is. That's entirely fair. Now, if you are a political streamer or you are a religion streamer, I am going to talk about both religion and politics at some point on my channel. Then yeah, sure, it's fine to bring those up at those times. But even for a channel that does a lot of varied things, if, for example, you're doing a gaming stream and someone brings up politics, time and place, my guy, right? It detracts from the purpose of the stream that is going on, which is to play a game. So again, whether you agree with this guy or not on anything, he at least understands time and place with this regard, unlike the communists, who are literally trying to fucking publicly deperson Emeru for not kowtowing to them on stream. So again, I don't know what this guy actually believes in any real sense, but I can at least respect the integrity and the fact that he understands the time and place principle.
But my content will be focused on that. So I just want to make it clear once again, right? You will be attacked by these people. They will attack you.
Oh, I'm going to be, if I have any modicum of success, I'm going to be attacked by these people. And it's not going to be because of you. It's because I've already talked shit about Marxism and Islam, and I have other worldviews in my crosshairs that I am eventually going to have to get around to. And I try to keep it as academic as possible, but I'm still talking shit about these crypto religions that I think are blatantly evil. So yeah, it's that is fair. And this video here will probably be used to attack me at some point if I get any kind of notoriety, which is fine because I don't really, this is what I actually think in the moment, right? And I don't expect any kind of genuine large scale success. I don't expect to exactly compete with James Lindsay as a Vogelin, as a Vogelinian, right? But so that's not exactly on my mind. It's not even a possibility in my brain. But then again, to be fair, It wasn't exactly a possibility in my brain that I'd be put in two separate music videos 3 days apart in only the second year of this year. So what the fuck do I know, right?
They will. Okay. Even if it's just like, yeah, I hang out in your stream, or maybe we play games once in a while. Maybe you don't even engage in politics with me or talking about any kind of cultural stuff. But the reality is, you've seen it. I've seen it. We all know it. They'll drag you in, or they'll look for some way to drag you in because they're cowards, right? They'll
Yep.
never actually go after me directly. They'll always go after everybody around me, right? Which is one of my main criticisms of a lot of people on the right who I do consider grifting, because every time they do get clapback for some of the shit that they say, they instantly get on Twitter and start crying about it and victimizing themselves. I'm very against people showcasing their personal lives on stream, especially if you are on the right wing or even like moderately right. I think it's absolutely just retarded to expose your wife or significant other or even your children to the internet.
I would totally agree with that statement. If you're going to be in a position that potentially puts you in danger of these unhinged freaks, to be perfectly honest, uh, because that's what a large contingent of the intersectional Marxists are, then you're doing the people around you a disservice by putting your personal life out there because they become vectors of attack to you. It's the same again. I've pointed this out in a previous stream where it's like, why do mass shooters do what they do? Well, oftentimes it's a deep-seated hatred against God or a deep-seated hatred of reality. Well, it turns out you can't hurt God and you can't hurt reality. So what do? Well, you do the closest thing you can to it. If your anger is against God for the crime of being, then you can't hurt God. God's impassible. So how do you get back at him? Well, you hurt the thing that he loves, right? That's the logic behind that. And it's the same thing with reality. It's like if you hate being itself, even if you don't believe there is a God, well, you can't exactly undo being. So the way that a person lashes out oftentimes is they hurt those things that you know that also exist. They go out and they hurt other things. That way, they can at least get they can do some degree of unbecoming. It is very petty, very narcissistic, and very evil shit. But that's what they do. They will find a vector of attack to hurt the thing that their ire is against, even if the object itself is not vulnerable to that attack. So
In 2026, I just think that's a disaster waiting to happen. You should just never do that. They will dox you, even from just minimal information, like just a random picture in the woods. These people are so autistic; they will geofinder you in no time and dox you immediately, and you'll have SWAT showing up to your house and killing your dog or you. So, yeah, this is
that is a very good warning, and that is a thing that happens. I mean, Chibi Reviews, for example, I covered his case not too long ago. Hold on. Right here. They swatted Chibi Reviews. He just talks about fucking Japanese cartoons. If they're willing to try to kill him for this, and he doesn't even really talk right wing politics, how much more are they going to try to kill you if you are even tangentially associated with someone on the right? Now, I don't consider myself a right winger. I know other people have placed me on the right, but I don't personally consider myself a right winger per se because I don't buy into the two wing dichotomy. I think the two wing dichotomy is, to use this gentleman's parlance, retarded, right? But
this has been kind of a long rant, but yeah, I just want to make it clear that there are no hard feelings. If you feel like you need to distance yourself, please do so. There will be no hard feelings. You don't even need to explain it. I mean, you just don't. It's fine. I mean, like, I get it. Trust me. But yeah, so. And I think most of you probably won't care, but some of you, I just want to, make it clear that, like, you don't have to feel like you have to associate with me, right? You don't have to feel like you have to, like, collab with me or anything. That's perfectly fine. You can even denounce me in a video publicly if you have to defend yourself. Please do. I beg you, please do. Because I don't think some of you are actually equipped to handle the cultural and spiritual war we are very much in. That some of you still continue to deny, but we are in one, whether you believe it or not, right? And yeah,
I mean, yeah, we are in a cold civil war, and I'm screaming into the wind to please not have this turn into a hot civil war. But you know, uh, if I don't have any control over that shit. But
I think the point's been made. So that's it. Love you. God bless. Have a great day.
again, I don't know anything about what this guy actually believes in any real detail, but I totally respect I totally respect him for this particular video. Again, he did not have to do this. He could have been a time bomb in everyone's fucking community. Well, potentially try to get some benefit out of it. That a lot of people would do that. So I respect the integrity, even though I don't know what the guy believes, and we probably disagree on a lot, to be perfectly honest. Um, so I saw that he had a couple of struggles recently. It seems like he may be struggling with some issue with pornography, a very common thing people struggle with. I hope the best for you, my guy. To be perfectly honest, I don't know that I'm gonna like collaborate with you all that much, but still, you know, God bless you and your family. Uh, Especially with that particular affectation. And again, I know a lot of people have a hard time getting off of that one because of how easily accessible it is. Um, but yeah, as I said, respect the integrity. Let's see, where are we now? Uh, I actually might as well bring this up. As far as like the religion thing, I do actually think that you don't that there is an inbuilt way for religion to be instrumental in the American politic, and that's through a system called declarationism. Now, declarationism is actually a jurid, jurisprudential. God, I couldn't say that word. Theory in American law, which states that the Constitution is not the supreme governing authority of the United States, but rather the Declaration of Independence is from where the Constitution derives its authority. And so the Constitution must be read in light of the Declaration of Independence. And I find this quite powerful because you have to be able to explain how are we the same country as the one that was ruled under the Articles of Confederation. Most people would be of the opinion that, hey, it is the same country, it's just a different ruling document. Well, how exactly does that work? Like, because that's a radical change in the structure of the government. And the answer is, well, declarationism, because the very source of authority, which the Articles of Confederation and the Constitution of the United States actually bed themselves in, is outlined in the Declaration of Independence. And it's right here. The unanimous declaration of the 13th United States of America, when in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal stations from which the laws of nature and nature's God entitled them. A decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. So, I mean, right here, you have the inbuilt logic for a national divorce, which I don't support because if you do a national divorce, what's going to happen is when the left controlled states collapse, they're going to blame the right controlled states that left for stealing their wealth. They're just going to go to a Marxist line of reasoning, and then it's going to turn into a hot civil war. So a national divorce is not optional for peace. But yeah, so the foundation, the source of authority that the founders themselves had to even establish the Articles of Confederation, let alone the Constitution of the United States, is the laws of nature and nature's God. So right there, theism is intrinsically built into the underlying logic of constitutional law. That would be my position on it. Declarationism is a minor jurisprudential theory, but it is a jurisprudential theory in American law. So I would suggest looking into that because I think a lot of people would find this is what they're looking for when they're looking for, again, a way to deal with some of the problems in the United States. Is we need to promote declarationism. Um, okay, that's not what I'm looking for. Did I put it over here? Nope. Here it is. So I know Penny Bloomfeld also did a similar thing. Again, I don't know anything about what Penny Bloomfeld believes, but I respect the fact that she even put this out here. So that's entirely fair. I have seen part of this video, so I do know a little bit about what she talks about. Um, so I guess let's jump into this.
This is not a reaction video. This is something else.
But this is.
Mr. Louis Rossman, I am sorry I have betrayed you. This is so important that I decided to type up what I want to say. And if you hear the paper rustling, it's because I've got a written statement in front of me so that I can say what I want to say.
The ASMR of rustling paper.
And if you don't want to hear me rambling a whole bunch, you can go straight to the description of this video and I'll have a shortened version down there in the description that basically covers everything I'm going to cover here. So what I wanted to say is this. So we're going into this new era now where all of us Skybrows fans and a lot of the people are calling the group of us Skybros, and a lot of people are making videos. A lot of people are reacting to Skybrows. A lot of people making their Skybrows tributes. All kinds of things are happening, and there's a whole bunch of us people, me included, that are getting cameos in the videos. And so this is a new era that many of us are excited about, where we are appearing in the Skybrows videos as cameos, and then we're also appearing in the Skybrows fan tribute videos as cameos. And I really love it. I really love it. Thank you to everyone who has been putting me in these many tribute videos. It is a lot of fun. It's a huge amount of fun, and
There seems to be more than I was aware of. I'm gonna have to check out more. I actually have seen Skybrow's anime opening. I will do a analysis of this in the future. Uh, Again, because I did not expect to be put in two music videos. I didn't expect to be put in any music video, by the way, let alone two within 3 days. That I fucking completely not on my bingo card for this year.
and every time I see it, I am touched. Thank you to everyone. But there are some dangers that this whole thing is coming with, and we're at the very beginning right now, so it might not be dangerous yet. But feeblemind here, he has released his own warning video talking about some of the dangers. So this warning video is called To All My Skybros, and it'll be linked in my description as well. And he's warning about certain dangers, and the specific danger that I'm going to be warning about in this video is a different danger. So if you've seen this video of Feeble Minds, I'm not just covering the same stuff he's covering. I'm going to talk about something different and something very particular to me. And I do want to say that I love all you guys that have been putting me as a cameo in your videos. I love it tremendously. But I have also started to worry about the future of these various AI creators that are beginning out, and we don't know where their careers might go. We don't know where their careers will be in 5 years or 10 years, or where this will all go. We don't know where it'll go, but I have a lot of hope I have a lot of hope. But I've been doing research about some of the things that we are facing. So, yeah, I've been doing some research about this.
Okay, so she's taking a little bit of time to get there, but she is going to talk about the dangers of the of copyright. Now, I'm going to put my stance on copyright right now. I cannot stand copyright law. Copyright law has been a disaster for like for Western culture. To be perfectly honest, it needs to be abolished in the state it is. We have a workable alternative to copyright called copyleft. If anyone wants to know more about copyleft, hold on, it's not this one. Uh, Unique Namosaurus gives a real quick TLDR on why copyleft would actually be a better system than copyright. Because if we take away copyright, well, it turns out that they no longer have these leverages of attacks, and they can no longer control the means of cultural production, which, by the way, is the entire Gramscian plot. The reason they took over entertainment is because they needed to control the means of cultural production. That is by design. So, if we take away copyright, we take away a huge vector of the means of cultural control, the means of control of cultural production. So there's that. But also, copyright is just foundationally not. It's just foundationally nonsensical. The whole point of property is that property can only be used in one capacity at a time. Like if I have a shovel, as I've pointed out before, then the reason I can own a shovel is because a shovel is limited in its usage by the fact it's physically instantiated in this particular instance. Like if I'm using a shovel, Penny Bloomfeld can't be using that same shovel at the same time. There has to be some method of delegating who can use physical objects in any capacity at any given time. That's where the whole concept of property ends up coming from. A lot of property is basically a physical extension of the human body, which, by the way, is your first bit of property. You own yourself, you own your body, you own your soul. Like a shovel is an extension of my hands, so I don't have to dig into the ground with my hands, right? The same thing is like if I have a pistol, that's an extension of my body in the sense of like my ability to defend myself. If I have a book, that is an extension of of my brain. It is an information storage system. All your property, for the most part, is some extension. Well, not all of it. Most of your property is an extension of some capacity of some natural capacity, and it is the fact that it's physical, that it can only be instantiated in a particular instance, that makes it property. That's where the whole like necessity for the development of property comes from. Ideas don't function this way. Multiple people can use the same idea at the same time, and no one is despoiled of that particular idea at that given. If multiple people are using it at the same time. Think about Disney. How the fuck did Disney, the big proponent of copyright, get famous? Oh wait, Beauty and the Beast. Well, they didn't write that story. They reimagined it. But God forbid you try to reimagine Beauty and the Beast of their Beauty. What about Aladdin? Oh wait, 1001 Arabian Nights. How did they again? They didn't write that story. They reimagined it. But God forbid you try to reimagine their version of the story, right? Or again, you have the whole story of Mulan. The Ballad of Mulan wasn't something Disney invented. They reimagined it, and then guess what? You can't reimagine their version. Like Hunchback of Notre Dame, they reimagined it. You can't reimagine their version either. And in fact, historically speaking, artists have always reimagined each other's pieces. Artists have always been able to take, even down to replicating a piece in a different style, has been a tradition in the arts. Copyright actually stops this process. It actually impedes the artistic development. We need to get rid of copyright as it exists and go to a copyleft standard, which is that you can repurpose art, and you can freely repurpose art, because that's how art has existed since time immemorial. But yeah. Anyway, So yeah, I'll put some stuff there about copy left because I'm a big copy left supporter, and that's not exactly going to make me any friends either. Because if we had copy left standards, well, it turns out the wokies couldn't ruin your favorite programs or your favorite books or your favorite games because it turns out fans, real fans, could continue if the original corporations actually got taken over. And plus, corporations aren't standard capitalism either. Corporations have their origins in syndicalism, which is not exactly a capitalist worldview. But I digress.
Featuring me in particular as a cameo in your videos might be dangerous. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, maybe not even next year. Who knows? But it might eventually be dangerous depending on how you do it and how many people do it and a whole bunch of other factors that I can't calculate, but I kind of want you to be aware of the potential dangers so that you can evaluate them yourself. And so one of the things is that I have been warning some people that have been creating these videos. I've been going into places that are like, semi-private, such as the chats of live streams and place like that. So they're technically public, but I call them semi-private because they're not likely to be noticed, not unless people are really looking. So I've been warning people a little bit in places like that. But that stuff doesn't really get the word out very effectively. And I was thinking about it, and I was like, well, I need to make a video to get the word out because just sort of doing it behind the scenes in semi-private ways aren't really going to get noticed. Doesn't really do the job. So reluctantly, I'm going to try to make this public. And let me sort of cough and drink some water, sorry.
ASMR.
Okay, so being so public about these exact dangers that are very, very specific to me, myself, I'm aware that this publicity of this video might draw the attention of those enemies who want to use this particular avenue of attack.
It's not a might. It will. The people she's talking about are the Marxists. The, they have no principles. Their only principle is, to quote Vosh, winning. They don't care about deontological reasoning. They don't care about any kind of consequentialist utility. They don't care about virtue. All they care is that they get their way. There is no maybe. This is a will. And I don't know if they're gonna see this and again try to do this early, but they will try and bitch and moan about this and try to get this vector of attack to happen. How successful they're going to be, it kind of depends. But again, yeah, I have, as I said, it's a copyright vector of attack, and I think that copyright should be abolished for copy left to restore art to the standards that it had before we decided that ideas could be owned.
So yes, I am aware of that. And I've been weighing it in my mind when I was thinking about creating this video. And I am sure that some of my comrades, some of my fellow Skyebros or whatever, might criticize me for making this video that highlights exactly how our enemies could attack us. And they might be right. They might be right. But after much deliberation, I think that I am right to release this video. So those...
Okay, I'm going to pause this for a moment because I have to mute this other window. So...
Entire rambling is that.
Okay, there we go.
People who are our enemies and who want to use this method of attack, they will think of this method of attack on their own sooner or later anyways. It will happen. They will think about this. I'm not giving them a plan of attack because I'm sure they would eventually think of this plan of attack themselves. And if people who are our enemies thought about this plan of attack at a later time, after I had been quiet about it, then this quietness would have caused them to have more ammunition to use at this later time. So by bringing it up myself sooner, I'm taking that ammunition away from them. I'm protecting creators who might get in trouble for using me as a future cameo. I'm taking this potential future ammunition out of the hands of our enemy, and I think that in order to take this potential future ammunition out of their hands, I think this action is worth the risk of giving them a battle plan early, because, you know, they're going to try to use this battle plan eventually, and I'd rather that they have less ammunition when they use it. So,
So I will have to point out that I actually agree with this line of reasoning. So back when I was in the military, so this is a while ago. Um, this is a while ago. Holy crap! I remember when I was in the military, the Paris attacks with the Paris truck attacks didn't exactly start. And I was talking to people about, for example, Islamic terrorism, and I pointed out, it's like, hey, we're getting one of the things that we're going to actually see eventually is someone's just going to get into their car and just drive through people, because you have to think about like how, because it's not actually that hard to understand how evil people think. You just have to think about what their motivations are, and then oftentimes you can figure out how they're going to act. And you have to ask yourself, think about, for example, again, the Islamic terrorist. If you genuinely believe that the only way to ensure, because you know even Uthman didn't trust the deceptiveness of Allah, the only way to ensure that you go to heaven is to die a martyr, then you know you actually have to succeed in the dying part and succeed in the killing part. So okay, how do we do this? Well, obviously in France it's going to be difficult to get your hands on a gun, but you have access to a car, right? No one's going to suspect a car, and there's nothing potentially stopping you from just driving on the sidewalk or driving through a crowd. And if you already are a truck driver, it wasn't that hard to figure out. Months before the Paris truck attacks actually happened, I, in conversation, actually predicted that trucks, well, not trucks per se, but vehicles would become a tool of like mujahideen. And lo and behold, I was right. It was also not exactly hard to figure out that like knife attacks would be a thing in China. Now, apparently, they had been going on before I called it, but I was not aware of them. But it was a conversation I had where we were talking about that kind of same thing, hatred of being, and I was like, yeah, knife attacks are probably going to be a thing that would be, you know, again, I was right about that because again, it turns out you don't actually have to be evil to understand evil people. You just have to be able to understand that, like, evil people aren't stupid. They're just evil. If you understand their motivations, which doesn't mean you have to agree with them, but if you understand their motivations, you can actually predict how some of these people are going to act. Because again, they're just operating from a set of premises, and then you have to ask, how do you actualize the conclusion that you as an evil person are trying to, actualize? So, but anyway, and this is exactly what she's doing here. She's asking herself, if there were these evil people who want to attack us, right? How would they attack us? It's like, oh, this is an easy vector to do so. So again, I totally agree with what she's doing, and it was a thing that did concern me, but I also just didn't really think about it. I was like, well, that's it. I thought about it for a moment, and then I kind of just like I probably thought about something else. To be perfectly honest, it happens all the time. I get distracted, and something happens, and I probably had some political thing to talk about. But yeah, I didn't think about it to the degree she did.
So this is my line of reasoning about why I think it is okay to release a video like this that is so public about a vulnerability that we have, instead of trying to hide this vulnerability in semi-private conversations.
And to be clear, when I said I thought about the same thing, I wasn't thinking about what specifically she's going to talk about. She's going to talk about her cameo. I was talking about, like, again, the use of the use of the same tactic, but in later videos, possibly earlier videos, depending on the the creator. Because I'm pretty sure some of these people who hate AI could be potentially wrangled into this whole thing that may have been included in previous videos.
Until it eventually leaks out anyways. And the thought of whether I am right or wrong in this line of reasoning has weighed on me heavily. I hope I am right, and I think I've thought it through enough times to prove it to myself, but I might be wrong. If I'm wrong, then I sincerely apologize for giving the enemy a battle plan early. I'm sorry. So what is this vulnerability? Okay, so let me show you my channel. So let's look up here. So on this channel, we've got the Clippy avatar right here. And people that have put me as cameos have based it on some sort of paperclip character, because they see my profile pic, my PFP here, as a paperclip character. And
Yeah, just to be clear, I actually did, when I finally found out who she was, which was funny enough, not that long before. I think it's even in the video when I talk about, like, possibly reacting to one of her videos. It might have actually been my reaction to Crybrows, actually. Uh, um, that I knew about this person from just very recently. And yeah, I would have assumed as well that this was the avatar, but then you go to her page, oh, this is her. She's a Louis Rossman fan. That's why she has it that way. But
And so why do I have this paperclip? So I've had this paperclip profile picture for the entire lifetime of my channel so far. And my channel was made in November of 2025. So
oh, she's
for
way
that
newer than I
entire
thought she
time,
was.
this Clippy picture has been the profile picture for my channel. Now, this is even though I had designed this character, the Penny Bloomfield character right here. I designed this character. I'd been planning this channel for more than a year before I made it. And I had already designed this character to represent myself. And so this is a gardening themed character. So Penny Bloomfield, she's a woman who grows pennies in her garden. So she is all about these pennies that are blooming in a field. Thus, Penny Bloomfield, the name.
Wait, she has a literal money tree in her lore. Okay, fair enough.
And she wears this green snood with pennies in it. And so if I designed this character and I spent so much time thinking about this character, then why did I do the paperclip profile picture? It's because of this. So Louis Rossman, he is a consumer rights activist. He does a lot about right to repair and all sorts of stuff like that. And he asked all of his followers to change your profile picture to Clippy. And he did that after I had designed this character, but before I actually created my channel. So at the time I created my channel, I put the paperclip character there because I was like, yeah, I'm really an avid Louis Rossman fan. I am going to go ahead Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and change my profile picture to Clippy, and that'll support Louis Rossman. So that was what I decided, and I decided my profile picture would always be Clippy. It would always be Clippy.
So this is actually kind of reminding me of the thing I mentioned with when I was defending Tomoe, the military horse VTuber, when that stupid rat was trying to shame her into taking a political side. And I pointed out that like these people, they'll use your creed and they'll use your, and I quoted the Soldier's Creed in that stream because I still have it in my pocket, by the way. But they will use your sacred texts. They will use your oral traditions, and they will use your creeds against you by manipulating the words and the meaning thereof to browbeat you into submission or to manipulate you into submission. And yeah, actually thinking about it, this is exactly what she's worried about right now. Because in a sense, the Clippy is a symbol of a creed, the symbol of right to repair, right? So, like, this would be, in a sense, the manipulation of a symbol against someone, in that Clippy is a copyrighted, character, but also is now emblematic of the right to repair movement, and that way they can actually use Clippy, what should be considered a negative easement, not intellectual property theft, because you can't steal intellectual property by definition, even if the law says so. It's literally just the law misusing words at this point. But um, yeah, so this actually ties into something I've already talked about before, which is the use of your symbols and your your ideological, your religious, your philosophical terms and signs and semiotics against you, to manipulate you into compliance. And here it just combines with the potentiality of lawfare.
In support of Mr. Louis Rossman. And I'm sorry, Mr. Louis Rossman. I'm sorry that I have betrayed you. I'm sorry, Mr. Louis Rossman. So I decided that this profile picture would always be Clippy. And so because of this, my cameos in Skyebro's and Skyebro's inspired videos have been as paperclip characters that could be argued to be, original characters that are simply based on a paperclip and are therefore not Clippy. So this argument might or might not hold up in court if Microsoft ever decided to sue. Even if these cameo characters are in fact Clippy, these cameo depictions of me as a paperclip might be protected under parody laws. However, Microsoft is a huge, giant, extremely rich corporation with an army of highly paid lawyers. And because of that, any lawsuit it might bring against a tiny creator, such as the various AI creators that have put me in cameos, no matter how unjustified, it would be a tremendous burden to fight a lawsuit like that, and it might even end up getting ruled in Microsoft's favor. So, extremely rich corporations often do get their way in court. There's lots of history of this.
Yeah, because again, the reason they get their way in court is because they can pay to, even if they know that they would actually lose the case, they can pay to prolong it to the point where you run out of money, which means you no longer have a defense, for yourself. Um, which again is not an accident. This is itself by design. It is an attempt at, again, control through a corporate means. But yeah. Uh, yeah, again, even if you're totally right about this, all they have to do is they have to just bleed you dry, and that's all they'll have to do, and they'll win. It's it. The whole thing about like we're a nation of laws is no, no, we're really not, because the law is so easily manipulated, and it's so often ignored, and it's so often uh, just actually insane that no, we're not really a nation of laws anymore. We should be a nation of laws, but we're really not.
Even
Think about how much one side gets to consistently ignore the law, and the other side is the only side that really gets held to it.
Even when the outcome seems very unjustified, and trying to defend yourself against a giant corporation, it can ruin you even if you win. So that has also happened many times in history.
I'm definitely of the opinion that if you try lawfare in something like this and you lose, you should be required to pay all of the lawyer fees of your opponent. And I think that that would definitely stop the issue, because then if you can't ruin someone through lawfare like this, then there's no point in taking them through lawfare. Or I mean, there would still be a point because it'd still be highly stressful to go through it, but then you'd end up paying them, and then like to an actual benefit for them at that point.
So parody is theoretically an absolute protection against using a copyrighted character.
So we don't live in the land of theory. Like ideas, we don't live in the land of ideas. We live in the world of the real. And in reality, that is not the case.
But in practice, that doesn't always work. However, Clippy is not merely a copyrighted character. Clippy has been a trademarked character of Microsoft since they trademarked Clippy in 2021.
Yeah, look, I like Louis Rossman, but I also saw it is also really apparent that this was a fucking stupid idea from the get go to use Clippy of all things as your mascot for this, and then for this particular reason. Like again, I agree with Louis Rossman on the right to repair thing, but I never did the Clippy thing because again, this was very patently a bad idea that was going to get someone in trouble from the get go.
So parody can also be used as a defense for the use of a trademarked character, but it is harder to do this than it is with a copyright.
It is a lot harder to do it.
Because trademark is a much thornier area of law in this regard than mere copyright. So if you are a creator who wants to cameo me, I don't want you to potentially get punished for your enthusiasm by being absolutely crushed by a giant like Microsoft. Now, many people might say that Microsoft is extremely unlikely to notice these cameos of myself as a paperclip character and sue AI video creators about it. That is true as long as you are small. But if you begin to build a career on your AI work and you get big enough, you might catch Microsoft's eye eventually. Also, as feeblemind's video here pointed out, to all my Skybros, this video. So there is already an army of what they used to call social justice warriors, the extremely woke people, not just a little bit woke, but extremely woke.
Yeah, the Marxists. Like, do not be fooled. Wokeism is just an American inflection of Maoism.
There's already an army of those people who are looking for any way to attack this beginning group of AI creators that are now gathering under Skybrows and producing their own videos. So this particular super woke crowd, they will go into pedantic detail, trying to think of every last avenue of attack, no matter how obscure that avenue is. And getting a giant like Microsoft to do their dirty work for them is something that they would be extremely interested in. And I believe that they would certainly try it sooner or later, no matter what I do.
Yeah. Corporate. Yeah. The Wokies definitely took the Deng Xiaoping method of dealing with capitalism, which is it doesn't matter if it's black or white so long as the cat catches mice. Right? If the corporation can exist and forward the dialectical purposes, then the corporation can exist for as long as it forwards the dialectic purpose, which is how you got managerialism in the corporate sphere in the Western world. The managerial class is literally just a Marxian invention. Uh, like it is, so yeah. They have no problem in leveraging multi-billion-dollar corporations if they think they can hammer you with them. And then they'll pretend like they actually don't like the multi-billion-dollar corporation. And then just think about, like, for example, how many times in the gaming sphere it's like you have the wokies like, leave the multi-billion-dollar corporation alone when they're defending their own woke games, right? It's like, yeah, it's because if the corporation forwards the dialectic, well, then the corporation is on their side. It doesn't matter that they are, from an orthodox Marxist perspective, capitalists, because these aren't orthodox Marxists. They are Gramscians. They are actually more sophisticated Marxists than Marx himself was. But anyway.
So, yeah, this video probably has right now given some of those people the idea to try to get Microsoft to do a lawsuit. But I think they would have got that idea anyways. I'm very sorry if I gave
I mean, I agree. I think they would have figured that out eventually.
it to them.
But I also think that they might have tried to get another smaller VTuber that didn't like AI. Like maybe, for example, it wouldn't have worked on Chibidoki, for example. But if someone else was incorporated that didn't like AI, that might have been another vector that they would have tried. Would it have worked? Probably not. But but that's just because, again, even a personal lawsuit like that could be also rather ruinous for just the process. The process is the punishment. So I could see them trying to do both at some point, like a personal lawsuit and a corporate lawsuit.
Prematurely, but I think that avoiding the giving more ammunition to them is worth the risk of giving that to them prematurely. Now, can they manage to get Microsoft interested in a lawsuit? From what I've seen so far, and based on my limited judgment, I think that probably not. But they will try to do it, and they will keep trying to do it, perhaps for years, and there will be a lot of people trying to do this. So the danger is there, and if Microsoft makes a move towards us, they can totally crush us. So I want us to be as protected as possible from Microsoft moving against us, even if the possibility is very unlikely. I want us to be as protected as possible. And another thing about Microsoft moving towards us is that there are some indications that big corporations might be starting to get more litigious about their characters getting used in AI.
And yes, I mean that was coming along the pipeline for quite a while as well. That everyone should have seen this coming as well. But again, it's going to be hard. But the right to repair thing, the copyright issue, they're all related to each other. If you really want to solidify right to repair, you also need to be attacking copyright as it currently exists. Oh my god, yes. But yeah. Law again. Copyright is a means of cultural control over the means of cultural production. And who actually has the cultural influence in all of your sources of cultural production? It's the Marxists. Who keeps conservatives and like leaning libertarians out of the means of cultural production for the most part? It's the Marxists. If you take away copyright, you take away their ability to leverage this particular thing. It's not that hard to understand. If you really want to take away their power, you need to destroy copyright. It is the method by which one of the main methods by which they actually impose a lot of this bullshittery upon us.
They might be moving in that direction. Maybe they won't actually keep moving in that direction, or maybe they'll move in that direction a lot stronger and a lot faster than we expect. I'm not sure. But just because it seems really unlikely now, it doesn't mean that it will always be unlikely. And once again, I would like to keep that ammunition out of their hands. So, in order to avoid this danger or this potential danger, I want creators to stop depicting me as a paperclip character that could, possibly be, construed as clippy. So don't depict me as a paperclip, and do start depicting me as the original character that I built here, the girl wearing a snood full of pennies. So if you've already got a video up with the paperclip character, please don't take it down unless you actually get a cease and desist letter from Microsoft. And make sure it really is from Microsoft, because a lot of the woke crowd likes.
Oh yeah, they will fucking try to. They will try to. They will try to like pretend to be people with more authority than they actually are. They will try to impersonate authorities to get at you. So yeah, that is actually a really good point.
To, send fake letters and email and pretend that they're giant corporations. Make sure that it really is from Microsoft and not, some weirdo in his mother's basement who decided to send you an email pretending to be Microsoft. But yeah, please do keep those videos up. I do love those videos, and I don't want you to take them down or erase part of them or anything like that. I hope you're able to keep them up, and I hope you want to keep them up. They really do touch my heart. Thank you. And I do think that the lawsuit danger is currently minimal. The Clippy like characters that I've seen are not exactly the same as Clippy. They're all changed a little bit, so probably, there would be defenses in there like, oh, it's different, it's just a paperclip based character, it's not really Clippy. And even
but you'd still have to waste your time in the court in order to actually make this argument. You'd have to make this to a judge or you'd have to actually get this all processed. That would all cost you money that you don't necessarily have, or that if you do have, it could have been used for something else. Again, even if they don't get what they want, which is a conviction, they still get another thing that they want, which is to punish you through the process.
Even if it is Clippy, there might be a parody protection. So I think right now the danger is minimal. What I'm trying to prevent is, if this universe really takes off, I don't want to become a cemented part of this universe as a paperclip and then have it end up destroying someone's career. I don't want that. I mean, yeah, I feel good. I feel good when you depict me. But if it turns out to eventually destroy someone's career, someone that I really loved their art and I wanted them to have a career, I would feel so bad. So yeah, don't take them down. But I think you should probably, be really careful in the future and try to depict me as this character with the pennies in her snood as much as you can.
I mean, this is also a more marketable character design, to be perfectly honest. It's definitely closer to the VTuber style, right? Not style, but like the VTuber idea. I mean, I guess you could be like a paperclip VTuber. Like that's you could do that. I mean, you got people who are cats, right? I'm pretty sure there's probably. I think I saw one person who was like a drawing on like a sheet of paper, which was like the drawing would actually move on the sheet of paper. It was actually really cool, but I can't remember who the fuck that was. Um, but yeah, um, I think it was totally reasonable for her to worry about this stuff, especially considering again the people who she's worried about. Their only principle is winning. They don't care what it costs. And you see exactly who it is you're dealing with when you consider what happened to Chibi reviews to Emeru as just like a baseline, because this is just the baseline of what they do. They go way further than anything. I did a whole video on how the left sometimes even uses false flags with CSEM. And this one right here, former r/against hate subreddits, where this individual, who was a member of r/hate subreddits, found out about this, was shocked by it, left the subreddit, and came clean about what she saw happening. If these people are willing to do this kind of thing to their enemies, there's nothing that they won't do to you. Like, again, they hate you. Remember the old Sam Hyde quote, right? These people hate you. They want to see you broke, destitute, dead, and your children molested. They these people are actually evil. Hold on. Where the fuck was I? So yeah.
Okay. So, so let's see. Let me turn the page. What else did I write here?
We have ASMR content.
So, what I'm going to do to try to help this process is not just the video that I'm putting up today, but I'm also going to change my profile picture away from Clippy, because I think as long as I have a Clippy profile picture, there will be people that don't know about this video that might innocently put me into their own stuff, and maybe it'll cause problems for it. I mean, maybe it won't cause problems for it, but maybe it will cause problems for it. So after I finish recording this video, I'm going to change my my profile picture to this girl here, my original character, and then I'm going to upload this video, and I hope this video is received well. I hope I didn't prematurely give the enemies a battle plan, or that, even if they do try to use it, that they'll probably just miserably fail at trying to use it. That seems quite likely. I love you guys. Thank you for cameoing me in videos. I never thought it would become big enough that it would be something that I'd have to be concerned about. But I've gotten to the point where I'm sorry, Mr. Lewis Rossman. I have betrayed you. I have betrayed you. Well,
I'm pretty sure Mr. Rossman would understand.
That is everything for that video, and it wasn't a real happy video like I like to make, but an important video. Thank you everyone. Thank you.
Again, I respect her integrity. She didn't have to make this video, but she was genuinely concerned, and even at a potential, like, again, personal cost, she decided to make this particular video. Yeah, I have a deeper respect for Penny Bloomfeld now because of this. So now I guess it's time for me to explain why I might also be in this particular group of there could be potentially risks with associating with me. So let me turn off the browser for a moment so I can highlight that this is already that I've already had one retard try to actually cancel me in a group that I was in. Or still am in. Hold on. Okay, let's turn this off for a moment so I can move this and I don't have to fucking dox what not dox, but like okay, it even covers that. Good. So okay, turn that back on. So before we begin, I would like to point out a lot of this stuff is already in my description. I am very openly pro AI art. I mean, obviously, right? Even before the Skybros thing, I was pro AI art. I am pro cryptocurrency, specifically like Bitcoin and Monero are the two that I have the most interest in. I don't trust Ethereum, but I'm open to learn about more cryptocurrencies, which ones are dangerous and which ones are stable and safe. I am pro NFT. I don't think there's anything wrong with NFTs, at least anything more than a hype beast, because I think NFTs are just basically paying for an autograph. Like, I remember back when everyone was like, "Aha! I right clicked your PNG. Now I have it." And like, I didn't have to pay for it. It's like, yeah, but that's not what he paid for. He paid for the blockchain. Like, he paid for the position on the blockchain because it's basically a signature proving that he's the one who paid for the artist to actually make the work. It's not that fucking hard. It's basically an autograph. Like, he basically paid for an autograph. Um, which, by the way, is not distributed with the copy. I am pro Fediverse. I am pro, which by that I mean decentralized social media. Decentralized social media makes it much, much harder for totalitarian regimes to control the internet as a whole. Uh, and it also, if everything is federated, it makes it easier for everything to interconnect with each other. I am pro 3D printing, and that includes eventually 3D metal printing. I think that a future where you can 3D print guns, I actually like that idea personally. And I am pro privacy tech. All of these good potential. All of these are already largely an issue among the left, to be perfectly honest. Um, but outside of that, I'm also extremely pro-life. I do not. I am completely anti-abortion. Uh, like 100%. I think a human being is a human being from the zygote, and I will argue that abortion is intrinsically evil. Now, my views on abortion are not exactly they're not exactly what would you say, all that secret. If you ask me about what I believe with regards to abortion, I will explain, in as much detail as is merited in the situation. Same thing goes with any of these beliefs. I have no problem with the pro ship community, so I know that's going to be a problem for some people. In fact, actually, in a previous video, I actually talked about the issue of lolicon when defending chibi reviews and how most people don't understand lolicon, and I am completely, largely anti-censorship when it comes to fictional media. And that does include, for example, anime and games, and even into hentai. Uh, I do not support censorship in general. So I have defended and will defend Lolicon and Shotokan in the future, just because it's part of the anti-censorship thing. Um, let's see. I am again pro right to repair. I'm a pro natalist. I think if you get married, I'm very vocal that if you get married, you should probably have not just one child. You should probably have multiple children. Uh, but that goes with the pro-life thing. I think human life is actually intrinsically good and self-justifying. Uh, I am a right libertarian. I'm a cultural, you could say cultural libertarian. I want to promote a culture where libertarianism would actually function, because as I pointed out in other videos, in order for any given worldview to work, any given structure to work, the people have to actually believe in it. Like, if you don't have a culture that believes in monarchy, well, we saw what happened in the French Revolution. The crown didn't exactly have the power to impose its divine right of authority onto the masses when the masses decided the guillotines were or the thing. Same thing happened in Russia, right? What happened to the czar and his family, the Romanovs, is absolutely tragic and demonic. But I mean, if the people no longer have a belief in the monarchy, well, your claim to the divine right means nothing in practical reality. Same thing with conservatism. If you do not have a conservative culture, you do not have a culture that is compatible with conservatism. It's that simple. And we do have historical evidence that libertarianism does actually work. Many of the things we libertarians want have been shown to actually work. Economic policies in Hong Kong, for example, the absolute bare minimum governmental structure in neutral Morsenet, which was a very unique historical moment, a snapshot in time that I refer to quite often, because it actually shows that libertarianism, at least a proto-libertarian society, actually functioned. And I do agree, yes, a lot of libertarians are stupid and cringe and dumb, to be perfectly honest. We call them lolbertarians for a reason. I am significantly closer to Mentis Wave than, anyone else. And again, Mentis Wave, not exactly popular among the left, eh? So, but I'm also, because I understand that libertarianism requires a cultural thing, I'm also very concerned about borders. So I've, already made a video talking about, ICE. And in that particular video, I talked about how while that incident with the Renee Good woman was tragic, it was not murder. Here we go. Yeah, down here. We actually watched the video, like multiple videos on that. And I've also criticized Islam. And I'm going to continue to criticize Islam because I think Islam is a anti-human religion. If you've actually read the Hadith and not just the Quran, and you actually understand that how to read the Quran, because it's not it's not written chronologically. It's written by chapter length. It's organized by chapter length, and there is the issue of abrogation, which is temporal. So you need to know the timeline in order to read the Quran. And the Quran also tells you that Muhammad was the perfect pattern of conduct for his followers to emulate. Doesn't tell you how Muhammad behaved, so you have to go to the Hadith, and oh boy, everything goes downhill from there. Um, yeah, this is actually the one video on my channel that I've actually not privated, but age restricted, because the content in it is just that disturbing that I didn't think it was right to not age restricted. Although you shouldn't be a kid on YouTube anyway. There's kids for a reason. That's another thing that's going to get me in trouble, is saying that parents need to raise their damn kids, and that if your if your child, you are responsible for what happens to your child online if you don't take in the very minimal effort required to actually ensure their safety. That's not going to That's not going to earn me any friends either. But as I've shown, I actually am willing to sit down and talk to people who disagree with me. Again, democratic socialist, right-leaning libertarian, and we had a pleasant conversation, and we actually came to agree about things. About, for example, we talked about fascism and what fascism actually is, because I actually happen to know a bit about this subject matter. I'm actually interested in the origins and the actual workings of ideologies. So, I actually know who Giovanni Gentile is, unlike the majority of the left who have never heard the man's name. Again, the majority of the left have never heard of Rudolf Jung, the guy who actually founded fascism, not fascism, but Nazism. So they don't even know where the ideas come from. Um, so yeah, much of what I talk when I talk about like the underlying issues with Marxism today, they come from various sources. For example, I'll draw on uh, scholastic, Confucian, objectivist sources in order to like prove my points, and I take a very Vogelinian stance. So if I sound like James Lindsay, there is a strong degree of overlap, even though I think he gets certain things patently wrong. So yeah, it is kind of that simple. We're both Vogelinians, so there's going to be a large degree of overlap. Um, people are going to say I'm a conspiracy theorist because, again, I called the fucking Pizzagate thing happening years beforehand, and I was like 2 weeks ago. I'm like, well, I was right. Again, I wasn't doing any of this stuff 2 years, back in 2017. But back in 2017, I was like, I can't prove it, but I started thinking it loudly. Um, I've defended Kirsche. And to be perfectly honest, on certain issues, I'm probably like more right than Kirsche, even though I don't really think Kirsche's a right winger. I think she's a '90s Democrat. To be very, and again, I'm very, I try to be very specific in what people actually believe, which is not going to make me a lot of friends on the left. Some of these people, for example, again, the conversation I had with again, where is it? This gentleman. Some of these people actually do appreciate nuance, and I'm always open to the opportunity to talk to a leftist who actually appreciates nuance. That's not the majority of Maoists, of woke, American Maoists, and I'm very well aware of that. But I'm still gonna poke that bear, and I'm still gonna poke the bear of Islam. And I know that I'm going to be a potential problem if I get any more traction because it already almost became a problem in a community. Um, so this is a thread under a YouTuber that I actually watch, and I'm often in their streams during their live streams. I'm not actually streaming with them, but like I'm in their chat, um, even if I'm just a lurker. But they posted a video which had the issue of, what would you say? Oh, excuse me. They posted a video where they had a vague statement that they were making, and I genuinely did not understand what the hell they were saying, because by the time that statement happened in the stream, I had passed out and I didn't remember it. I'm not gonna lie. Um, so I posted again, that I agree with the rejection of fascism and that we probably have different understandings of what that actually is, but I didn't understand what the hell was going on, so I was asking for some clarification. And immediately, this retard pops in. No, you don't, ice lover. Cut the metaphysical crap. You're literally part of the problem. So we already have one retard who went to my channel and completely misunderstood, probably maliciously, what was going on. I tried to peacefully diffuse, just ignore the guy, and to my surprise, because it's very obvious in that community that I'm not a leftist. People actually jumped to my defense, which was not a thing that I had on my bingo card. Again, this happened this year. You know what? Actually, a lot of things not on my bingo card have been happening this year. Um, yeah, I actually got defended in this community because I've been a longtime member. And actually, someone actually in the community even said that. You're accomplishing nothing. The opposite of what you're trying to do by attacking this user. He's a longtime, trusted, well-behaved part of the community. Literally said in his opening statement he opposed fascism. Save it for people who deserve it. Yeah. So even with the very, very small amount of, just questioning, son of a bitch, I'm gonna have to cut this out. It became a bit of an issue, right? I'm just gonna have to cut this part of the video out. Yeah, I really didn't want to have to edit this video. I really didn't want to have to edit this video, even though it's going to be a very minimal amount of effort. But so yeah, I already know it's going to become a problem because even as small as I am, I already had at least one retard jump in and try to ruin my reputation in the community. So yeah, if I get any kind of modicum of traction, this is going to be a problem. So again, be mindful of that if you choose to continue. Like associating with me. But again, if you tell me if you choose to not associate with me, I do totally understand. Just like again, the guy at the beginning. We and him don't agree. Probably again don't agree on many things. We probably do agree on some things, But if you don't want to associate with me because of the potential risk, again, I totally understand. If you want to associate with me in private and secret, again, I totally understand. I'm never going to mention it. So, whatever you decide, if you decide that you do want to continue associating with me, I will happily continue associating with me, but there's no hard feelings if you decide that me being a potential risk, because I'm basically the James Lindsay of VTubers, I totally understand. So, that's all I wanted to say. I have a great deal of respect for these two, for this gentleman and this lady. So that's all I got to say. I believe this satisfies my obligation to react to one video for both people. Although I will be reacting to at least one more Penny Bloomfeld video, but that's gonna be a long time down the road because I have a lot of people to get through. I have no idea how to end this video. So I guess I am. I guess I am. Fuck it. Y'all have a good day.